Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give a hand to Benji Weibert for doing that beautiful song. Thank you for your help. I was trying to model children first. I can wait until he's finished, and then we can. Thank you again for coming to the 2013 Caring Youth Awards program. This is as you saw in some of the things that are in front of you, this is the 24th year of this program. I'm delighted to be part of it and to do a little introduction. I'm Bob Tift. I proudly serve as president of Benilde St. Margaret's, and my wife and I have lived in St. Louis Park for 25 years. We have 4 sons that we are in the process of raising in St. Louis Park and really love this community. I've had the opportunity to be involved in many youth activities and the St. Louis Park Business Council and Rotary and many of those activities, and it's so fun to be an important part of the community that places such a high value on young people and wants to acknowledge and to respect and to support young people in this community. One of the things that we're going to do tonight, I've had the opportunity to attend this event before, and young people often get recognized for their athletic prowess or for their academic pursuits. But the young people being recognized today are very special people because they have a quality of a caring heart and a generous spirit that is something that we think is very important to recognize in young people. And so this is an opportunity to take times out of our busy schedule and to recognize some students who are part of our very bright future of our communities. And we want to take the opportunity to do that. And with that, I'm going to turn things over to our MC, Sara Lindenberg, who is a teacher at St. Louis Park High School. Please welcome Sara.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tift. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sara Lindenberg. I'm a history, psychology, and civics teacher at St. Louis Park High School. This is my 3rd year there, and I also was very fortunate to grow up in this city. I'm glad to be here with you at the Caring Youth Awards, especially on this near spring-like day. During a normal spring, I love being outside and around the parks and lakes in Minneapolis and St. Paul, just like I'm sure is true for many of you. I feel humbled to be here to participate in this event. To me, this event symbolizes and recognizes service at its best, and is even better because it involves students who serve. I'm thrilled to be back in this community working with students because I feel like I was given opportunities in St. Louis Park, like this award in 2003, that are unique to this place and I would not have gotten elsewhere. I'm also lucky enough to have taught some of these fine young men and women listed on your program tonight. Now I'm pleased to recognize this year's Caring Youth Award winners. We're honored to also have Dr. Bob Tift and St. Louis Park Mayor Jeff Jacobs here to congratulate our award recipients. 24 years ago, Roland and Doris Larson had an idea. Over time, the event has changed. However, one thing has remained the same. Members of the St. Louis Park community coming together to recognize young people for their spirit of caring and concern for others. And tonight, we're lucky enough to have Roland and Doris here joining us. Please give them a round of applause. Before we get started, I'd like to welcome Marcy James to the stage. Marcy is a member of the St. Louis Park Youth Development Committee and will be reciting the proclamation of Caring Youth Day.
Hi, this is the proclamation of Caring Youth Day. Whereas St. Louis Park will be hosting its 24th annual community-wide celebration to recognize young people for their caring spirits and concerns for others. And whereas Caring Youth Day was a creation of the Westwood Lutheran Church and Roland and Doris Larson and is now planned by representatives of several community organizations. And whereas, to date, 455 youth have been honored through the Roland and Doris Larson Caring Youth Recognition. And whereas these young people are important assets to our community who inspire all of us through their altruistic actions, and whereas these additional young people who have involved themselves unselfishly in a cause or situation that benefits others will be recognized on April 23, 2013. Now, therefore, let it be known that the Mayor and City Council of the City of St. Louis Park do hereby proclaim April 23, 2013 to be Caring Youth Day in St. Louis Park and call upon all citizens in the community to join in salute of these special young people. Wherefore, I set my hand and cause the Great Seal of the City of St. Louis Park to be affixed this first day of April 2013. Signed by Mayor Jeff Jacobs.
Thank you, Marcy. Without further ado, it's time to meet this year's Caring Youth Award winners. As your name is called, please come forward with your nominator and stand to the right of the podium on the tape mark while your nomination is read. Then, step to the right to receive your awards from your nominator. You may then return to your seat. At the end of the program, we will ask all nominees to please gather at the front for a group photo. Our first award winner tonight is Samantha Bremner. Samantha Bremner, a Minneapolis resident and St. Louis Park High School senior, has volunteered on the St. Louis Park Youth Development Committee for 8 years. Nominator Charlie McChesney said Samantha has provided a calm presence in a group of students who are very energetic. She possesses a maturity that stretches beyond her years as she has shown respect and care through all her volunteer activities and has a desire to make her community a better place. Leia Brownstein. Leia Brownstein, a St. Louis Park resident and junior at Beis Yaakov of the Twin Cities, has been a Hebrew studies tutor, mentor to her neighbor who is homeschooled and has a hard time connecting with others, and is currently growing her hair out in order to donate it to a local organization that makes wigs for cancer patients. Nominator Bella Smith said, Leah has a kind, giving attitude and a desire to help others. She cares about others, puts that into practice, and is a great example to others of giving above and beyond. McKenzie Dunlevy. McKenzie Dunlevy, a Minneapolis resident and Benilde St. Margaret's junior high 8th grader, has been a part of the Red Knight Volunteer Corps for 2 years and volunteered for nearly every event offered. Nominator Susie Hinnendale said McKenzie has a very practical and extensive understanding of the needs of others, as well as how those needs can be met. Service is very much a part of who she is and will always be part of her life. Caroline Cupola. Caroline Cupola, a Golden Valley resident and Benilde St. Margaret's High School junior, is a regular volunteer at her school where she participates in every club whose expressed intent is to serve others, such as the Red Knight Volunteer Corps, Students for Human Life, Student Leadership Forum, Link Crew, and Nightlife. Nominator Zachary Zexer said, as a freshman, Caroline visited Africa out of an interest in becoming a physician. Africa's impact on her, however, made service, not medicine, her top priority. Caroline's volunteer work shows a consistent theme of deeply rooted compassion for youth who suffer. Whether it is raising thousands of dollars for children in Africa or lending a hand to the person next to her in class, she genuinely wants to serve and to lead by example, consistently responding to whatever need is in front of her. Fatima Muhammad. Fatima Muhammad, a St. Louis Park resident and St. Louis Park High School senior, has been a member of the Children First Marketing Task Force for 2 years. Nominator Karen Atkinson said, Fatima brings an authentic youth voice to the Children First initiative and has been a fabulous resource, committed to spreading the message about Children First in the St. Louis Park community. She is proud of St. Louis Park and wants to share that sentiment with others, both her peers and the larger community. Quan. Quan, a St. Louis Park resident and St. Louis Park High School junior, has been on the Youth Advisory Board with My Health for Teens and Young Adults for 1 year. Nominator Nina Johnson said, we have no Youth Advisory Board member more reliable than Alan. He volunteers for every event, comes to every meeting, and does any and every task given to him with a smile. He is a quiet young person and with a kind and decent heart, a young person who wants to find a place for himself in the world and is doing that by volunteering for our organization. Anna McClowski. Anna McClowski, a Minneapolis resident and Benilde St. Margaret's junior, volunteered in Kids Connection program at Perspectives Incorporated as a kitchen assistant in the Kids Cafe. Nominator Josh Simonstead said, Anna is a bright young woman who understands the importance of being an active member of her community. She genuinely believes that by sharing one's gifts and talents, the world will be a better place. She has a calm demeanor and ability to connect with students in one-on-one situations. Her school, faith, and living communities will be stronger because of her presence and her involvement. Isabella Nordahl. Isabella, an Anoka resident and Elk River High School senior, has been actively serving for Spirit of Christ Lutheran Church for 6 years, including several missions trips. Nominator Pastor Amy Orsted said, Bella is very caring, compassionate, and conscientious. She always seeks to help others in need, whether it is her peers or those involved in individuals older or younger than she. Caring for others comes naturally for her, and she is willing to put herself out there to help. Thank you. Coogan Rod. Coogan Rod, a resident of St. Louis Park and senior at St. Louis Park High School, has been a member of the St. Louis Park Police Explorers for 3 years. Nominator Matt Blomsness said Mac is a true leader and an excellent role model to our younger members. Through his leadership and willingness to volunteer, Mac creates positive law enforcement contacts with members of our community. He is a positive role model for all youth in our community. Jasmine Coita. Jasmine Coita, St. Louis Park resident and St. Louis Park High School freshman, has been involved with the Meadowbrook Collaborative since kindergarten. She has been involved in service learning at various levels for 6 years. Nominator Linda Trummer said Jasmine is confident, happy, cooperative, giving, and kind, all the qualities that make her volunteer service so successful. She believes in service above self and is a role model to others. She has survived adversity to become a successful student and member of the community. Morgan McDonald. Morgan McDonald, a St. Louis Park resident and senior at St. Louis Park High School, was a junior ambassador for 2005-2006 and is currently one of 3 young adults representing St. Louis Park as an ambassador for 2012-2013. Nominator Tammy McKenna said Morgan has represented the city and the Parktacular celebration everywhere she goes. The young children with whom she interacts look up to her and say readily she is there for them. Morgan helps to teach, promote, and exemplify the 40 developmental assets for young people. Eric Manuel. Eric Manuel, a St. Louis Park resident and 8th grader at St. Louis Park Middle School, has served as a junior leader for the City of St. Louis Park's Summer Park Program for 2 years. Nominator Katie Lee and Lisa Abernathy said, Eric has shown great leadership and enthusiasm in our playground program throughout his ability to keep the kids involved in activities. Having been in the program himself, he knows what the kids want to get out of the program and reflects this through the energy and positive attitude he gives to the participants each day at the park. Andrew Jewell. Andrew Jewell, a St. Louis Park resident who is homeschooled, has volunteered with Westwood Hills Nature Center since 2009, contributing over 230 hours of service. Nominator Becky McConnell said, Andrew has the ability to connect well with kids. He is dedicated, dependable, and generous with his time. He has a natural, relaxed way of interacting with participants and peers. He has shown leadership, initiative, and enthusiasm throughout his many years of service. Alexandra Pasquale. Alexandra Pasquale, a senior at St. Louis Park Senior High, has been an active and important part of children, youth, and family ministries at Westwood Lutheran Church for many years. Nominator Danica Montplaisir said Alex possesses an incredibly gracious spirit and is wise beyond her years. She cares deeply about her family and her church community. Younger children and youth are drawn to her and her nurturing presence among them. Sabrina Doucette. Sabrina Doucette, a St. Louis Park resident and senior at St. Louis Park High School, is a member of the Central Clinic Advisory Board. Nominator Allison Lusky said Sabrina is dedicated, has the ability to follow through on tasks, and her personable nature make other staff and students want to work with her. She is able to generate out-of-the-box solutions for marketing strategies for the clinic. It is statements like these by students and about students that got me into teaching in the first place. Congratulations. Let's give all recipients one more round of applause. It is so fun to hear the unique personal stories of students out there making a difference. Sometimes the reaction when I tell adults I teach history, or when students first walk in my classroom, their reaction to history is, oh, boring. But I always try to teach my students history is learning about a collection of stories or events or life experiences about people. We've just witnessed a little history tonight. Another reason I like this event is that the mayor of our own city takes time out of his day to make this a priority every year. Now I'd like to introduce Jeff Jacobs, Mayor of St. Louis Park, for our closing remarks.
Hello there. I was a history minor at the University of Minnesota. I was, actually. And I had a history professor that told me that history is not the study of the past. He used to say it was the study of the future. So you can tell your kids that, as a matter of fact. Well, thank you for inviting me, and good evening, everybody. I'm so glad you came here. You know, I give a lot of speeches, and I do a lot of things, and I stand in front of a lot of audiences, and I talk, and my grandmother used to tell me that when you come to something like this, you should always remember who the crowd has come to see and who they have not come to see. So I will be fairly short tonight because I know that none of you came to hear me. Fair enough. So, but this is absolutely head and shoulders above everything else my favorite thing to do all year. And I think I've been to almost every one of them. I missed last year. I was probably on a plane someplace stuck in a snowstorm somewhere. But I love coming to this because it is so uplifting and it's just fantastic. Now, I've been around a long time. I've been doing the mayor gig. In fact, I remember some of these kids when Leia was up, I think you were in YDC when you were about 4th or 5th grade. And I remember reading books with Jasmine when she was in kindergarten. And Willie over here, or one of our esteemed helpers, was in kindergarten with my son who's going to turn 18 tomorrow. So I suppose there's two schools of thought on that. Some people think I've been around too long. I get that. Others, of course, think I've been around way too long. Fair enough. All right. And you'd think that after all that time and giving all these speeches, and you'd get cynical, you'd get bored, you'd get tired of coming and listening to these stories, but I don't. I never get tired of this. Never. I never get tired of hearing these stories. I'm never cynical about the looks on their faces. And I hear about what they do and how they've been so committed and so passionate about making their community a better place to live. And I'm always astonished by how young they are. Some of them are junior high school kids. They're 12, 13 years old. Gosh, I wish I'd been more like them when I was their age. I mean, they're models for, they make everybody else better around them. We talk about a village to raise the kids, but the kids are helping to raise the village, let's face it. When you hear these stories, you cannot help but be moved by that. So it's not possible to be cynical, in my opinion, when you meet these kids and you hear about what they do, and you look at the looks on their faces, and you see them every day out there helping in their community, in their school, in whatever organizations they're a part of. It's just fantastic. My grandmother, I really did have a grandmother, and unfortunately, she passed away last week, one day short of her 107th birthday, which, well, I thought that was amazing. What that means, of course, is I love her dearly, but it means I better start saving some money. And so, and she always told me, she said, when my first son was born 28 years ago, almost 28 years ago, she said, make sure you're around, she said, when your child finds his passion. She was 80 years old when she told me that. She never lost sight of that. Well, fortunately, you've been here for that. You've been here for when your child finds their passion. Don't let them lose that, because you're to be congratulated too. The families, the extended families, the schools, the organizations that these kids are a part of, you've helped to shape them just as they've helped to shape you. And that's pretty amazing. That's the kind of community that we can all be particularly proud of. Now, I get it. I know that the time will come, sooner than you all in high school think, when the time will come when the torch will need to get passed to the next generation. Those of us who are in power now will need to pass that torch off to you. And there's a lot of torches to get passed, believe me. There's a torch of innovation and knowledge, a torch of volunteerism, and a torch of generosity, a torch of compassion and caring, a torch of mentorship, and finally, and most important of all, the torch of leadership. Now, depending upon which blogger or pundit you listen to, there's a lot of concern about that, oh my goodness, that's going to be a bad thing. I'm not worried about that. Not at all. I mean, some are worried about it, but I'm not worried about that day. And it's coming to events like this and meeting these kids that gives me extraordinary faith and extraordinary hope in our future. These kids will be fine. When the day comes that you pass that torch on to them, we'll be good. In fact, I'm kind of looking forward to that day. I went to the University of Minnesota many years ago, back when you could still find parking on campus, that long ago. And I took a cultural anthropology class, and I was there. It was some prerequisite that I had to have. And I heard a story that I never forgot. It's one of the few things I remember from college. And the professor told us the story that there are tribes in Africa that when members of neighboring villages meet each other, they exchange a greeting which in their language literally means, how are the children? It's a very different sort of greeting. We ask, how are you? In their culture, they ask, how are the children? That's how it translates. Because they know that that's the most important thing to them. They know that their history depends on it. Therefore, their future depends on it. The health of their community depends entirely upon how those kids are. And so that's their priority. That's what's the most important thing to them. That's why they ask it. And so as you look around the room, and you feel this sense of parental pride. Two of my kids got these awards years ago, and I've sat in your chair, and it's a very moving experience. But as proud as you are of them, imagine how proud they are of themselves. So, how are the children, the man asked. Well, in St. Louis Park, I am extraordinarily happy to tell you that the children are fine. As a matter of fact, they are downright remarkable. But I think the fact that a lot of them have been up since the very early part of the morning. They've worked all day at school. They've come to this event. My guess is that the children are perhaps tired. So what do you say? We take them home, make sure they do their homework, and put them to bed. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. Congratulations. Don't forget the picture. Come up for the picture at this point. Have a great night.